Hello, Tracy here. Welcome back to my front porch. I just wanted to chat with you briefly about getting started. If you're just getting started into milling wheat, making bread, maybe you haven't even bought anything, you're just looking into it. I just want to chat with you a little bit to give you some tips that hopefully will be helpful to you as you start this process. So the first and probably one of the most important things that you're going to need if you're planning on milling wheat and making your own bread or your own milled wheat products is you need a good wheat mill. Of course, that's very important. I remember the first time I ever tested out making flour from wheat berries is I used a coffee grinder because I was concerned that it was going to taste bad and I wanted to know how it tasted. Now, it tasted excellent. It was a really good flavor, but the texture of the flour was extremely gritty. And the reason why it was gritty was simply because of the tool that I used to make the flour. A coffee grinder is certainly not what you want to use to make flour. Now, if you go through my channel, you'll see I have two videos. One is on the Wonder Mill wheat mill, and the other one is on the Malt Mill Pro, which is my current mill that I have and the one that I'm planning on having for a long time. But you definitely want a quality mill, and the reason why is so you get a good, fine flour. It's really difficult to make a good quality product if your flour is gritty, okay? And I know because I speak from experience. Now, if you're on the market and you're looking for a wheat mill, they are not cheap. Depending on your budget, you will find that they are expensive, or for me, what I consider to be expensive. You're gonna spend probably $300, a minimum of $300 for the Wonder Mill or the Mill, which are the most common electric mills that don't have the stone teeth, or impact mills, I think is what some people call them. I just call it with the metal teeth. But those usually start around $300, $320, $350, and then they're going to go up in price. Now, you can certainly find used mills on probably your Facebook Marketplace or eBay, maybe even on Amazon. I actually had a lady give me a wheat mill because she did not like the way it worked. She said it just doesn't work well, and I didn't realize until later on when I tried it the reason why she didn't like it, or she did not like it, was because it did not mill the flour fine enough. So I just want to give you a word of caution. Even shopping new, make sure that whatever mill that you end up getting, that it is going to do a good job, that it's going to mill your wheat to give you a really good ground flour. So from there you can make a good quality product. So that, in my opinion, is the first thing that you're going to need, is a good quality mill. And if you're shopping used, I just encourage you to make sure that you can check it out, you can test it to make sure that it's going to produce a fine flour, because my experience that I found with used mills, it's not been a good experience, to be honest with you. But I'm not saying that doesn't mean that every used mill is bad. I'm not saying that. Just make sure that you test it out and you know what you're getting. Secondly, the next thing that I would recommend as far as getting started is a way to manipulate the flour that you produce once you mill your wheat. I have been fortunate to serve as a co-op coordinator for the Bread Bakers, and throughout the years I've met quite a few people who have bought a wheat mill and they're so excited about being able to mill wheat and make bread, and then they don't have a good quality way to manipulate that flour and make it into the food products they want to make, and then they just give up. They get frustrated and they sell their wheat mill and they say, I don't want to have anything else to do with this because this is too hard. And no, it's not too hard. It's just that the majority of equipment that's out on the market is not designed to handle freshly milled wheat flour. So you need to make sure that if you're planning on using an appliance such as a stand mixer or a bread machine to take that flour and to make it into whatever it is you want to make, that you have a good quality machine that can stand up to the it's a heavier flour than, you know, your processed flours. So it is going to be different. It's going to behave differently. And just don't be discouraged. That's another thing. If you're trying to make a loaf of bread, I used a standard KitchenAid stand mixer, a classic, for 6 months, and I struggled making bread with that machine. It just isn't designed to handle that type of flour. So you could do it well with yours, but just keep in mind that you need a way to manipulate the flour. Now, if you're going to do like muffins or waffles or pancakes, those are easy. You can get by with a hand mixer on those. But if you're wanting to make a loaf of bread, you're either going to need to plan on hand kneading it, or just make sure that you have something in your kitchen so you can get it to work with that flour and get it to produce what you want it to produce. So I don't want you to be one of those people that you buy a wheat meal and then you just want to, you know, throw the baby out with the bathwater, so to speak, because you can't get it to do what you want it to do. Third advice, as far as getting started, is to find a recipe that you know will work. Now, it's probably not going to work for you the first time, but find a recipe that has a reputation for working successfully. And then you need to stick to that recipe and keep working at it to get it to keep going until you get it to do what you want it to do. So what I'm saying is, like, for me, I was using what I consider equipment that's not made for freshly milled wheat products, but that's what I had, and that's what I was using to try to make bread when I started my process, this journey. And I kept using the same recipe over and over and over again because I knew from my research that that recipe was guaranteed to be successful. I just had to figure out what I needed to do on my end to make it produce a loaf of bread like what I wanted. So get your recipe that you know will work. I love the Bread Becker's basic dough recipe. It's on their website. You can find it quickly and it will work for you. It tastes great. That's what we eat. So that's one that you can try. And I know that there are many more out there that's also available on the web. Okay, last tip that I have for you as far as getting started is to have a good attitude. You know, it's so important that whenever we are starting, well, anything, just our day in general, but especially when we're going into a task that we know that may be hard or something that we've never done before. Like, I get nervous whenever I'm going to try something new for the first time. I don't want to fail, but yet I don't know what I'm doing. So, you know, your attitude is so important. Proverbs 18:21 says that tongue has the power of life and death. And my mama has always told me, and I completely agree with her, and now as an adult I see it, and it's something that I want to teach, or that I do teach my children, that what we say is so important. If we go into the process and we're speaking negatively and we're just like, oh, I don't think this is gonna work, and I just don't know about this, and I just speak life. You know, I want this to work. I'm gonna do my absolute best. Hopefully it will work. If it doesn't work, I'm going to step back, I'm going to study it, and I'm going to see what I did wrong, and then I'm going to tackle it again. I remember one day I made bread loaves back to back to back because I was determined to get it right. Now, I really started getting it right once I replaced that mixer and got a heavier duty stand mixer. But just remember, your attitude is so important. I encourage you to have a good attitude. If you're feeling, uncertain about it, just go in and go for it. And I really just want to encourage you. You do not have to have a degree in culinary skills to be able to master this art of milling wheat and baking bread at your home. Just go in and go for it. If you have any questions, feel free to post them here. If I am not able to answer them, hopefully somebody else on the thread will be able to do so. And I wish you the absolute best as you begin this journey. And Thank you for watching. If you will, please give me a like and subscribe. In the YouTube world, that actually is pretty important. So I would appreciate it if you wouldn't mind doing that for me. And I will see you here on my front porch or in my kitchen the next time that I'm able to publish a video for you. Thanks for watching. Bye.